All right, what is up? Top of the hour here, or not top of the hour, around 1:30 here at WIUR, the voice of Iona University from New Rochelle. It is Ball Knowers alongside Luke Dolan.
How's everyone doing?
I am Cameron Woolley. So, as the title of this stream suggests, we are going to be discussing in length the Stanley Cup playoffs, which are starting tomorrow night, and I'm excited, even though my team is, fortunately for basically everybody on here on this campus except for a few people, my team is not in it. But
I'm
the
very
Rangers, the superior franchise in the New York metropolitan area, are in the playoffs, and we will be discussing that series along with every other series that will be played in the first round, on top of maybe some other baseball and maybe NFL draft.
Because the Mets
stuff.
are doing good, but yeah, we want to start off with.
I mean, the Yankees are playing too, but like, we're going to be talking about mostly playoff hockey, so we're going to be doing our brackets.
The best time of the year, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I love watching playoff hockey. Like, even when my team's not in it, I can take some solace in knowing that I'm just spectating.
Yeah.
Just kicking back, relaxing, watching the games, watching everybody else lose it.
Yep.
While I have a normal resting heart rate for the spring.
It was kind of fun watching playoff hockey when the Rangers were in their rebuild. Oh, but now.
Well, yeah, because like it's a lot more relaxing.
Yep.
And since the Devils aren't in now, I'd rather them be in it. Like, absolutely, I'd rather them be in it. And I would have a massive spiel about how disappointed I am in them. I would have that rant, but the bottom line is the show's not about them. This time of the year ultimately is not about them. It's about the Rangers, because the Rangers are here a lot more often than the Devils are. So this is all about Big Brother while Little Brother stays. Well, other little brother is also in the playoffs, but the littler brother is out of the bracket entirely, ultimately, to be honest, where they belong. So I'm just gonna have
you're not gonna hear me disagreeing with that personally. I was super far from the mic. Hopefully I caught up. But yeah. But anyways,
so I'm just gonna look up the I'm just trying to click a link
to get to the bracket
that has a bracket.
Yep.
Wait, you did.
Just gonna get my water.
You did email me a bracket challenge. I'm just gonna make the picks from there.
Yep. But yeah, we can start making our picks. So we got entertaining first round as usual, like new interesting matchups to start out. The first round is like always like the highlight of the playoffs, in my opinion, because there's constantly games on. There's so many playoff games on all the time, and it's fun to have so many teams like, and it just like so just to have so many games in like going on at once.
I love the first round. I'm more of a second round guy when it comes to the playoffs, because the second round, that's when you get some of the tense rivalry matchups and the really high leverage.
Yeah. And yeah. So where do you want to start off with, in the East or the West? Or
I'm just doing the bracket challenge right now, starting with Dallas and Vegas. I'm gonna go off rip. I'm gonna go with a little bit of an upset here. I think Vegas wins.
I mean, is it really?
Straight up, Jack. I think Vegas wins. Well, Vegas is the second wild card.
I know, but I mean, they're gonna have Mark Stone back.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have Mark Stone back, and I trust Vegas.
The second wild card seeding is a little deceiving, in my opinion. Calling them a second wild card team, that's a little deceiving, because they're defending champions. But yeah, the second round is in heads and turns. Back to what you were saying about that, someone said in the chat. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Dallas in 7 games for that one.
I don't really have a game total for all these teams. As for the Central 2 versus Central 3 matchup between the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche.
I'm picking Jets all day on that one.
I'm going to be inclined to agree. Even though the Colorado Avalanche,
Do you want to know the
they're
difference?
fantastic. I think this series goes. I know I just said I wasn't going to do games, but I think this one goes at least 6. And I think Winnipeg ends up winning because they have the goalie.
They have the clear cut goalie matchup.
Yeah, they're gonna goalie diff the Avalanche.
Oh yeah,
because Connor Hellebuck is a bit better than Alexander Georgiev.
Yeah.
So I'm going into the Vancouver-Nashville matchup.
I think that one's going to be a tough series, but I think Vancouver wins in 6.
Yeah, I agree. I think Vancouver takes that. They're just too good. Like, I genuinely think they are
really good. They have talent. Then I don't hate Nashville as a wild card. I could see Nashville winning that series though too. I will be honest. I could see them.
Yeah, I could see that happening. You see Saros,
and
it's tough. It's a tough pick to make, but I think only one of the division winners.
Oh yeah, and also the Avalanche might not have Rantanen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Either because I think he might be hurt, though I don't know what the injury status for Mikko Rantanen is, but that could be a huge factor in that series. But anyways, yeah, I think we both agree that Vancouver's going to win.
Yeah.
And now for a three-peat, a third straight year, we got Oilers and Kings for the third straight year, with them being 2 and 3 in the Pacific.
I think Edmonton takes it.
See, I would go with Edmonton, but this is the third straight year these two teams have met. Eventually, something has to change, and I think the Kings are road warriors this season. They have won so many games on the road. They're better on the road than at home, and they are the lower seed, so they are already going to have to be playing more on the road anyway. And I think the Kings surprise and take advantage of the underachieving Oilers.
Yeah, I could see that happening, but I think the Oilers just end up winning in 7
because you can't. Because Connor McDavid.
Like, I'm not. And again, I've said it before. It's kind of become my catchphrase on here, at least when I'm talking about teams. Show me the money. I'm not gonna believe it unless I see it. And I think that like the last 2 years, it's happened. Why should I believe it's going to be any different?
I guess.
Why should I? Why should I?
Cam Talbot versus Jeff Skinner, or not Jeff Skinner. It would be odd if Jeff Skinner would be
Stuart Skinner.
All
right. On to the East.
On to the East.
Florida, Tampa.
That's the Florida men.
This is a tough.
It is a tough one.
I think Florida.
It's going to be 7 games. The Florida men will kill each other.
Boston, Toronto, Boston. If I even need to explain why Boston ends up beating Toronto, that's beyond me. I think Boston beats Toronto. Rangers.
I just want to go back to the Boston Toronto series. I definitely think they tanked their last 2 games. They gave up the 4 games.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They were in.
Who would you rather play in the playoffs?
Tampa
a team that's won 2 cups in this decade,
on fire,
or the biggest losers, arguably in all of sports?
The Leafs have not been the Bruins in a playoff series since 1959. Which I know there's like
Dude, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president.
We did not land. The Beatles hadn't even performed yet. Officially formed yet.
It was before the Beatles.
It was a full decade before the moon landing.
The number one artist in the world, I think, at the time was still Elvis. Elvis or Frank Sinatra. I don't know which one. But
it was a full decade before the moon landing. That the last time that the Leafs beat the Bruins.
Oh yeah.
And
it's the fact that we talk about the moon landing every time we talk about the last time the Leafs were successful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the moon landing happened a couple years after. It's like, wow.
And the Beatles were still together.
Yeah, the Beatles were together.
But yeah, I definitely think they forego the division just so they could play Toronto again.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what happened. And I think it ends up being 7 games again. And ends up TD Garden again.
TD Garden again.
And
Boston wins
and
again.
Boston wins again at TD Garden. I do not never in a million years
And
will I ever think Toronto will ever beat Boston.
You know, they won a playoff series for the first time in
the
forever
playoffs
last season.
I will never trust I will always pick against the Leafs. Until they, at bare minimum, make a run to the conference final, I will never pick the Leafs.
The Leafs
in a
have
series.
not won three playoff series ever.
Yeah, never. That's never. Oh my God, you're right.
Because of how
even in the Sundin days when they would make it to the conference final going back to Wendell Clark in the early '90s.
But even when there were less teams, there were only at least 3 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, that never happens. Ever since they started introducing the divisional semifinal, back when the Patrick division was a thing.
But yeah, I mean, I also want the Canadian teams out immediately, in my opinion. But that's a whole other decision.
And as we pick a Canadian matchup for the second, as we pick 3 Canadian teams to go to the second round in the West.
I mean, I picked 2 Canadian teams to go into the second round. You picked 3.
I mean, yeah, I picked 3. Anyways, Rangers Caps. I think the Rangers end up obliterating the Caps.
I think it's gonna.
It is not going to be close.
It's gonna
at all. The Capitals had a goal differential of minus 30 something.
37.
Yeah, minus 37. And that is never. No. I mean, sure, crazier things have happened to President's Trophy winners.
Yeah,
and I am aware of that. I am aware that the President's
aware.
Trophy has, and I know it has you feeling a little jittery. But there is no way on earth that the Rangers end up winning that series in in more than 5 games.
Ideally,
it does not take more than 5 games. Maybe a gentleman's sweep, whatever. But that is not going to happen. It's a 1 in a million shot that the Caps end up winning that series.
Yeah,
you are at bare minimum moving on to the second round of the playoffs. As for the other Metro matchup, this is going to be close. I feel like this is a take that I've been seeing a lot, and I agree with it. The Islanders, that's a tough out.
That is a tough out. Though I still think Carolina outlasts them. I think they beat them in 6 games.
I mean,
also
I'm just on a hunch. And because playoff hockey can be weird, and I gotta pick one of the lower seeds, I think the Islanders end up squeaking out of this one. As for the game totals, I think Florida beats Tampa in 7, Boston beats Toronto in 7, Rangers sweep the Capitals, and the Islanders.
I don't like you being so sure about the Rangers as a rival. I don't like that.
I'm being genuine. No, I'm actually being genuine. No, there is no way on earth that I am picking no. The Rangers have been a wagon all year. They have the most valuable thing in the playoffs. They have an all-world goaltender, and they have amazing special teams.
The crest here, this crest is a burden of itself, which is why I'm it's constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop.
All right, going on to the second round, I guess we'll stay in the East.
We'll stay in the East. I have Boston, Florida. You have also Boston, Florida.
I'm gonna take Florida here.
I think I will too.
As for the second round, Rangers, Islanders. Rangers. It'll be close. It'll be really close.
And
the Islanders are one of the only teams in the league that can equal out the Shesterkin factor.
Rivals throw everything out the window.
That's going to be a rough series. Expect Matt Rempe to be going out there and going there. I expect him to, Hulk it up in that series. He's going to be a factor. I think the Islanders, out of spite, are going to make that series go way too long.
Yep.
Way too long. But I think the Rangers, they do end up winning because I mean it's what I don't want to happen. As for the Western Conference,
Well, I didn't say my matchup. I have Rangers Hurricanes in the second round.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I still think the Rangers probably win, but the Carolina Hurricanes, man, I really despise them. I hate how they play hockey, and I want to beat them, and they're fair weather fans.
Oh yeah.
I want to beat them. I really want to beat them, and it's going to be very, very tough. And I'm like, and which makes me super unsure. But you gotta beat good teams. You gotta beat the best if you want to be the best, and that's what they need to do.
Be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
They don't go down easily, which is why I'm a little surprised you picked the Islanders to beat them, which I don't disagree with. I think the Islanders can actually go toe to toe with them in some degree, so we won't know until.
But also, I needed
to play the games.
I needed at least one upset pick.
You picked Vegas over Dallas
in the East. I needed one upset pick. Like that's my rule of thumb. I need like in the first round at least. I need at least a couple upsets because that inevitably happens because it's hockey.
You have to play the games. But anyways, yeah. We're going back to the West for our second round matchup.
Yeah, going back to the West, Vegas, Winnipeg.
I have Dallas, Winnipeg.
For me, I think, I mean, you know what? Just to troll Canada. Vegas wins that series.
I do like that.
No. There's going to be all this buzz. Sportsnet, TSN, they're going to be talking. We're going to get an old Canadian Western Conference
all those
final.
Canadian pundits, all of them who want Canada to be in there. Nothing is greater, besides me experiencing the Rangers winning Stanley Cup. Nothing is greater than seeing the Canadian teams all fizzle out in the playoffs and not even sniff the final or not even win the Stanley Cup. It is one of the greatest pastimes I've experienced. There is no way, if Canada ever wins the cup again, it will be too soon.
Oh yeah. As for the other matchup,
considering I have Dallas Winnipeg, I think Dallas Winnipeg would be a great series.
That would be nice.
But I have Dallas outlasting the Jets in that one, going to the conference final.
All right, my other second round matchup: Vancouver, Edmonton.
That would be a cool matchup.
I'd say dude, the rivalry that would be nice. A couple in my bracket, there are a couple of really good rivalry matchups: Vancouver, Edmonton, and Rangers, Islanders.
Yep,
but I've said this a million times. I don't trust the McDrysaddles to win in the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, that's why I've chosen to lose in the first round.
Like I trust them to win in the first round. I trust them to
beat LA,
high-end talent their way against out of LA. But I do not trust them to beat Vancouver. I think Vancouver ends up winning the series.
I think, and since my matchup is Canucks and Kings, I think the Canucks win. I think Vancouver has too much talent, and the Kings will have probably been overexhausted themselves against Oilers to beat their demon of recent years. They'll overexhaust themselves, which means I have a conference final matchup of Dallas and Vancouver, and Florida and New York Rangers. So,
the conference final. Let's start with the West.
Yeah. So you got Vegas and Vancouver.
Vegas and Vancouver. This is tough. Vegas. I think Vegas only makes it so far. I mean, as the second wild card, and as hilarious as it would be, I have Vancouver making it to the Stanley Cup final.
Wow. That's what Demko is going on a run here.
Yeah, that's maybe what could happen.
I mean, yeah.
And hey, you want to talk about Canadian? Ironically, a Canadian team would be backstopped by an American goalie. That is the one difference. That is the one thing we've had over, in terms of talent development. That's the one thing we've had over Canada is that we have had we've been more consistent with the goalies. Granted, the top goalies of all time, then the top three, like on the Mount Rushmore of goalies, which only has three heads: the Hasek, Waugh, Brodeur. Two of those guys are Canadian. Waugh and Brodeur are Canadian. But in terms of what we've seen in the last 20 years or so, the only top of the line Canadian goalie that I've really seen is Carey Price. That's the only one who's had an absurd run. The rest have either been American or Russian.
Yeah,
or Finnish.
Yeah, like who's their
They've been American, Russian, Swedish, or Finnish.
It's like super hard. From what I understand, also it's like super hard to be a goalie in Canada specifically. It's like really hard to be.
Well, I mean, because there's so much more raw talent when it comes to skaters.
Yeah, but I think it's also like
when you have Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard in your youth league, it's a little tough.
The equipment though is like expensive to get too.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're talking about like hockey equipment's not expensive in the States.
Or not well,
Dude,
not
hockey,
as expensive.
Not
hockey,
as
expensive.
Outside of golf, hockey is the most expensive sport to play.
Yes, because you gotta get ice time. You gotta find a bunch of stuff.
Equipment.
They don't
skates.
They don't discount goalies on like travel teams in Canada. Apparently, they don't like discount goalies for travel teams. Like they don't. It's like they have to like pay for. They don't provide equipment, which is messed up.
Oh yeah. It's the worst. That's why Canada hasn't had many great goalies.
Like who's their best active goalie? Tristan Jarry. Oh,
open a window.
He has no bro. He still has no glove hand. He has no glove.
Jacob Markstrom.
He's Swedish.
Oh yeah. Markstrom. Oh, should have known. I was trying to be generous. I was trying to be generous to our very friendly neighbors to the north. Like literally one state north of New York. It is you're in Canadian border.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I need to like them.
Oh yeah, no.
Or who else? Old Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury. No.
Stuart Skinner. I just established that.
Yeah. No, that's not happening.
But
as for the Eastern Conference final,
let's get back into this. Yeah,
this is going to be close. Yeah, Rangers.
I think the Rangers out. The Rangers are on a run here.
Yeah, I see it happening. You're doing it out of homerism. I'm doing it out of cynicism.
Bro, you literally picked the Capitals and Islanders, the two teams who the Rangers faced in the '94. And their run.
And look at what my Stanley Cup final is.
And, yeah, it's Vancouver, New York. I picked Dallas, New York.
All right. As for my take on the Rangers and why they're going to win the Eastern Conference, I think in most other years where the East has more strong teams, I don't think the Rangers make it out. I'm being straight up because there's always at least one other team that matches up to them better at 5-on-5, or they have a good enough or they're better enough at 5-on-5 and they have a good enough goalie who can at least cancel out Shesterkin. The Rangers will always have better special teams than any team they play in the playoffs. I genuinely believe that. The only team in the NHL who I think would have a better power play is Edmonton, and they're going to get knocked out in the second round. So ultimately, there's always one team that sort of matches up well enough with the Rangers goaltending, and they outplay them enough at 5-on-5 to end up outlasting them. But I don't see that happening. I think Florida has the best shot. I think the Islanders have a pretty good shot too with Sorokin. But I think Florida is going to get tuckered out by the Atlantic too much.
Yeah, someone's going to survive the Atlantic.
Someone's going to survive the Atlantic. The Rangers are going to more likely than not coast through the Metro.
I mean, well, if they play Carolina, it's going to be tough.
Well, Carolina, you've beaten them before.
Yeah,
you've beaten them before with a worse team.
The Carolina is also a lot better this time around.
And, Jake Gensel, that's right.
Yeah,
playoff Jake Gensel, that's rough. But I think the Rangers. If I'm saying this now, and I'm not saying this to make excuses for the Rangers doing well. There is no excuse on earth for the Rangers to not make it out of the Eastern Conference. This road is paved for them. All they need to do is just play up to their ability. They'll destroy Washington if they do that. They'll beat Carolina or the Islanders if they do that, and they'll be well rested enough and they'll be healthy enough to beat whatever team that gets beat up making it out of the Atlantic.
Goes through that Atlantic gauntlet.
Like that, I say this with the utmost respect. You have the easiest path to a Stanley Cup final out of the Eastern Conference that I have ever seen. Ever seen. At least out of the East, because the East, in a lot of years, it's been rough. It's been rough, especially with some of the teams at the top. You had Boston for a few years. You had Tampa. Oh, forget Tampa.
Still.
Yeah, Carolina to a degree. Although, the Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
Even the threats that you play in the first round. I mean, Toronto, like regardless of getting knocked out, they'll always take you to 7 games. They'll wear you down at the very least. The Penguins. Yeah, the Penguins, they never go down easy. You were sweating the Penguins making the playoffs.
I hate them. I sweat playing the Penguins all the time.
Like the New York Rangers will make it to the Stanley Cup Finals with relative ease. And since they're playing a Canadian team in my bracket, since they're playing a Canadian team, the Vancouver Canucks, 30 years of the year, pains me to say it. It pains me to say it. And we're talking about history following suit. I hope history follows suit. That next year, 1995, 2025, we're talking about all these historical parallels. In my world, in my judgment, the New York Rangers are the 2024 Stanley Cup champions.
Really? If the Rangers play up to their ability, which has been a struggle for them sometimes in the playoffs, they probably, if their best players play like their best players, there is no reason why they probably shouldn't win the cup. If Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad are showing up, they have.
That's another thing, dude. That I think last year really woke you guys up.
I think the way that they played,
Panarin is.
He would be an MVP candidate. Like
if it weren't for Kucherov and McDavid
and Matthews and McKinnon.
Yeah.
But if he shows up, I definitely like our chances. But I have the Rangers beating Dallas in the final. Dallas, I think, is the one team that could definitely win a cup this year. Definitely win.
I think Vegas is gonna do Vegas things and beat them.
But yeah, I can't believe
like Vegas is just one of those teams. Just one of those teams. They ended up winning the cup last year. So you can trust them to pull stuff like this off. They've done it too many times. But ultimately, I think the Rangers are going to be more well rested. They have a better. They have what you need to win a championship in the NHL. They have high end talent up front with Panarin and Zibanejad and Kreider, who like Kreider always shows up in the playoffs.
Yep.
Always. I think he's the all-time like leading playoff goal scorer for the Rangers.
Something like that, yeah.
I think he's up there. Like if my memory serves right, Chris Kreider is the all-time leading playoff goal scorer.
I mean, he has played in enough games to probably to accumulate that amount of stats because the Rangers are like, oh, we got to go 7 all the time. We got to go to game 7 all the time in our series.
Now, could I be wrong? Yes. No, given the President's Trophy, who knows? Like, and maybe last year something like this happens. Panarin, woof, just disappears.
He just goes
maybe
straight
Panarin disappears. Zibanejad disappears. Maybe the Rangers don't get a lot of power plays. Maybe the league. You say the league doesn't like the Rangers. Maybe that's true, and they don't get any power plays in the first round. Maybe the Capitals end up getting a lot of power plays, and you get Ovechkin.
And Charlie Lindgren plays super over his head.
That happened last year. You had a rookie goalie play
Charlie
eons over his head.
I mean, Charlie Lingman's not a rookie goalie, but he's like, I think he's finally getting like a lot of starting.
He's on the younger side. That's his
He's-
first
he's
year
30 years
getting
old.
a
He's 30 years old.
what?
Yeah,
How have I never heard of this guy before? He's 30?
yeah, yeah. He's 30. He's older than Ryan Lindgren. He's older than his brother Ryan.
Also, you never know. Maybe you get Wes McCauley and Kelly Sutherland for back-to-back games, and they hate the Rangers. They hate the Rangers, don't they? They really hate the Rangers.
I showed you like on Wednesday when
oh yeah,
I heard that they were refereeing the Penguins Islanders game, the final game of the season. I was joking about them when I was speaking to you, like off the air
Wes
about
McCauley
that.
and Kelly Sutherland
running the same game.
Yeah, we were talking at lunch. It was like, oh man, I'll imagine Wes McCauley and Kelly Sutherland getting tasked to a Ranger playoff game. I want to. It's gonna be so fun to like chat with you about these games, these Ranger playoff games.
You're gonna have fun.
I'm gonna be on the sideline. My heart rate. I'm gonna have a normal resting heart rate. I'm not gonna be sweating. My hands are gonna be dry as can be. Meanwhile, you're gonna be all clammy. You're gonna be the sweaty. Oh my god, it's gonna be. Oh, this is kind of nice. You know what? I miss my hockey team being kind of bad. So I can just kick back, relax. Although the series that I am going to be locked into the most in round one is going to be Boston, Toronto.
I've surprised enough Florida, and Tampa.
Yeah, Boston, Toronto, and Florida, Tampa.
The Atlantic.
Yeah, the Atlantic. The Metro. I was like, I want all of these teams to lose. Like, I don't like any of these teams. Although I have always had a bit of a soft spot for the Capitals.
I hate them.
And like the Islanders and like the Islanders, I don't like them. It's just an enemy of my enemy thing. It's like I begrudgingly make an alliance with the Islanders because they are so annoying. They are so old and they are so slow. And Kyle Palmieri always scores on the Devils. So I remember that. I genuinely liked the Islanders when they had Travis Zajac, Andy Green, and Kyle Palmieri. That was when I was really rooting for the Islanders. Like in the playoffs, I bandwagoned them because they had Travis Zajac and Andy Green.
Over Blake Coleman?
Yes, over Blake Coleman. I didn't grow up watching Blake Coleman. Blake Coleman had like a year and a half where he was a productive player on the Devils. Granted, he was really good, and I'd give anything to have him back on this team. But Travis Zajac, Travis Zajac, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated Devils ever.
I mean, he played there for long enough.
He had 1,000 games
with the Devils.
Logged over 1,000 games with the Devils.
Hey,
he was Mr. Reliable,
a fan favorite, and
he was Mr. Reliable. No, I don't even think he was a fan favorite. He just casually
stuck around.
I have never seen a player exist more than Travis Zajac because what he'd do, he'd chill out. He'd play a solid two-way game. Be like maybe your second,
could put him anywhere,
like second, third line center. You maybe even put him on the first line. I remember in the 2012 run, he
could win faceoffs.
Yeah, he really won faceoffs. He was an amazing faceoff man. He'll log you 40, 50 points a year, and then he'd go home.
Like Travis Zajac,
he was good.
Like Travis Zajac, a player is what the Devils kind of need right now because of not the other guy who they had.
Trevor Zegras or Travis Zajac?
Travis
Zajac. I would give
to get
what I do for prime Travis Zajac
on this on the current Devils team.
What I do for prime Travis Zajac.
Even I like
I like Travis Zajac. Never, and the Devils have lost a lot of games in a lot of ways because of a lot of players. Never have I watched the Devils lose and I was like, wow, what on earth was Travis Zajac thinking? Never have I thought that. That's never happened.
That thought has never even
the Devils have never lost a game, at least in my experience, because of Travis Zajac.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess to wrap it up here, I don't know. How much time do we want to keep going further with this? Because we started off late, but we can go a little bit. But I guess what I want to end it up is, fully previewing a bit more of the Capitals and Rangers. It's a lot.
I don't really know what much there is. I mean, sure, there's history there.
It's a throwback to the 2010s. of the Hank era.
The only guy on the Rangers left over from that is Kreider.
It's Kreider, yeah.
No? Like, yeah.
It is
It's a new Ranger team.
Essentially, yeah.
Basically a new team except for Kreider. Capitals, on the other hand, that's mostly the same guys. I mean, Backstrom.
The only really guys I remember are like Wilson, Ovechkin, and Carlson.
Tom Wilson, that's right. Tom Wilson.
It'd be good. It'd be good. It would be good to
Matt Rempe is going to be in the lineup for
at least for game one. I think Rempe gets in the lineup for game one, like because everyone's going to be intense and like electrifying, and they're gonna want the momentum on their side with him like getting hits and everywhere, and everyone just cheering. They want the home crowd into it early. So and he's gonna get the crowd going.
Oh, dude, he's gonna be out there, and home team gets second line change.
Yeah, the last line change,
and they're gonna put him out there against Tom Wilson.
I
guarantee that.
Though Tom Wilson might be try to be on as best behavior as he can because he like only just came back from a suspension, like to end the season. But
it's the playoffs. The refs swallow their whistles in the playoffs.
So he would have to, he would have to do something very atrocious to get suspended again, though.
No, who's to say that Tom Wilson would be the one instigating? Matt Rempe doesn't shy away from starting something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say
he's just gonna. Just because it's Tom Wilson.
Also, I don't think the Rangers are going to be like the series isn't going to be decided whether like the Rangers play either Matt Rempe in the lineup or Johnny Brodzinski in the lineup. I don't think it's really going to make that's not going to be the reason why they want to lose the game. To be perfectly honest with you, I like both of those guys, but the Rangers are not going to. The reason if they're nothing's going to really change much whether or not either of those guys play. And also, who knows? Filip Chytil might come back in the lineup.
Yeah, Filip Chytil, dude, that's gonna be. The Chytil did nothing for you guys last year, but
he's got talent. A lot
of guys did nothing for you.
A lot of guys did nothing. They're about to score and they didn't score.
And you still ended up taking that series to 7 games because of Shesterkin and the power.
And then and Chris Kreider showing up
Chris
Kreider was like the only guy who really showed up.
Yeah, for consistent like the whole series. First 2 games, you had everybody show up, but then as the series went on, you had less and less and less.
A lot of people had too much mileage on them. Like Adam Fox was like dead tired. True, but a lot of people played too many games. I felt like too late. They didn't get enough rest.
So you're advocating for load management?
I mean, a little bit, a tad bit.
I mean, the Rangers had a easy season, smooth sailing. You just games.
I mean, they faced some adversity though this season too, with like losing Adam Fox for a significant amount of time.
I mean, yeah, and
what happened with Chytil, Shesterkin, and then that's rough January, a pretty rough January.
Well, what hockey team is gonna go all season without having a bit of a rough patch?
I know, yeah.
And the teams that don't have rough patches, like the 2019 Lightning and last year's Bruins, you know what happens to them in the playoffs, right?
They get eliminated.
Yeah, they get bounced because they don't know how to
close out. They don't have the killer instinct.
Yeah, they don't know how to play against teams that aren't laying down for them.
That's the thing. I think the Rangers do have a bit of a killer instinct. I think, and they've shown that somewhat. They have like the most comeback victories in the NHL this season, too. So I like the sound of that. But yeah, I think the Rangers play on Sunday at 3 at the Garden. It's gonna be. I hope it's fun. I know the expectation is to dominate the Capitals, which I mean I would be disappointed that's not the scenario because I want to beat the Capitals. But also at the same time, if they still beat the Capitals, hey, they still won the series. It's about how they do it. Ultimately, doesn't really matter. If they do it, you'll take it. If they just win, you'll take that. And then who you get in the next round? Islanders, Hurricanes. Who you're gonna have it's gonna be a tough out, no matter what. You have to beat the best teams. But yeah, the one matchup I hope happens is Dallas and Winnipeg because that would be a fun series.
That would be a great series. I love the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I love the
every year. It's the best thing in sports.
It's the best.
You know what I'm going to be doing on Saturday? I'm going to be chilling. Going to be get the big platter from Chicken Joe's. Just sit down.
And that's Joe. It's Joe's Chickens now. Apparently, they changed the name.
They switched the.
I know.
Give me a
I mean, I
break.
know. I mean, it's not much.
It will forever to
Be
me
Chicken Joe's.
be Chicken Joe's.
And
Chicken
me too.
Joseph's. Chicken Joseph's. Like that. Like I haven't gone there in a minute. Ooh, that's I gotta use
What-
my
I
I gotta
guess-
use my meal swipes and like I'm like it's cutting season. You know, gotta get in shape for the
I know-
summer. But
I know.
I'm like maybe I can just forego lunch tomorrow.
I know you said you're gonna pay attention to like the Atlantic Division like playoffs, but which
Oh, yeah.
which Western Conference matchup is like intriguing you the most, or which series?
I like the Central Division side.
Yeah,
Dallas, Vegas.
I
and Winnipeg,
Dallas Vegas. I think is
Colorado.
the one I think I'm gonna pay attention to out of the West.
It's like with the Pacific, it's kind of like you've seen like Edmonton, LA. That's been played out,
The third straight
and,
year.
and it's not like Boston, Toronto, where it's funny.
yeah,
Like Edmonton, LA is just like them again, and Vancouver, Nashville. There's not really much there.
I think it'll be a
I mean, like if anything, I have a bit of a rooting interest in Vancouver beating Nashville because I want Vancouver to win, so the Predators don't think they're close to contending and don't give UC Saros to the Devils.
well, now
Well, although
now I
wouldn't
need the
that-
Predators to win.
Although wouldn't that just happen anyway? Because
They have
Askarov,
Jonas
they have
Askarov.
Askarov.
I mean, like most good things for the Predators, they come from Milwaukee. That's literally where they got their chance from. Like their goalie chance, they got that from Milwaukee.
Oh yeah,
They got literally everything good about the Predators, except for like Gustav Nyquist and Ryan O'Reilly this year for free agency. Most of the good things that Nashville ever has come from Milwaukee, which I think just speaks to the testament of how good they've been at like player development for the majority of their existence. I like the Nashville's in the playoffs. That's I want to go see a game in Nashville once in my life.
oh that would be so fun.
It would be so fun. I like.
But there are certain stadiums I want to go to, just like feel the out. I want to go to City Field at some point. It's like I gotta hit a Met game.
Yeah, you got it.
Like at City Field, just
they're
because.
doing well now. They're doing well now.
Yeah, but that means the tickets aren't cheap.
There's a college student plan. I can get tickets for you. I think the both of us, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Like there were rough plans about going with a few of the esports people, but that fell through. Also, the weather ended up being terrible that day.
I mean,
anyway,
yeah.
it was the Saturday game against the Royals. Like that's why I was circling. I was like, oh, go to a Met game. The tickets are $15. We can walk around. City Field's gorgeous. No, also, that they got Shake Shack there.
They do have a Shake Shack, but though if you're gonna get the Shake Shack, you gotta be like there early.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
because for some actually no, I'm not gonna go to a baseball game to go to Shake Shack.
I mean, yeah, I know that's a whole other thing, but yeah, I think we can probably end it up there. But unless we want to end up like one note about baseball.
I mean, yeah, probably do a little thing about baseball. Also, next Thursday night we are going to be live collaborating with Into the Stanzas Robbie Basil for the second annual WIUR NFL Draft Special. It'll be me, Luke, and Robbie here keeping you company throughout the festivities of the first round the entire time. So,
And
pardon us if we end up going a little crazy and ends up doing some wacky stuff. But
the best news I got from because of it, the Rangers will not be playing on that.
oh
night.
yeah,
They will not be playing on that night. So
yeah, it's not like
I will-
last year where there was a playoff game.
But yeah, the Rangers will not be playing on next Thursday based on their schedule. So I will be fully locked in for that night. Where I was worried that it wasn't going to be that way. But now it will be. I will be fully locked in for the
Oh yeah,
draft.
yeah. I wasn't able to be locked in on the draft last year during a playoff game. Oh no, never.
Absolutely not.
A playoff hockey game? No, that takes up my entire day.
Yep.
That's a whole day. No, but that's like a month-long conniption. That's if your team gets knocked out in the second round.
2 months.
Like 2 months? Oh, 2012? Well, I wasn't able to really understand the stakes that much in 2012. I was just whimsical going through it because I was 8.
They just kept winning.
I was 8. The Devils just kept winning. I don't know how they were winning, but they were winning. Oh, dude, that Devils team, I watched a video where it was like talking about the expected goal rates of like each playoff team or each cup final team, the Devils actually like outplayed the 3 teams that they played in the Eastern Conference. Ironically, they got outplayed by the Kings, which other that Kings team,
That Kings, no one,
nobody was beating them.
Despite the fact they had under 500 record, they go into the 8th seed and they just bulldozed through everyone in 2012.
Well, Jonathan Quick,
Jonathan Quick, Jonathan Quick like had a Jason Garrett run in 2012.
Yeah, that was a Jagarian run.
Yep. He deserved that Conn Smythe.
Yeah, Quick deserved that Conn Smythe.
Who is now who passed Ryan Miller for most wins by an American goalie, and he might get the 400 next season.
Oh yeah,
he might get the 400. When people thought his career was over like last year, Benoit Aller got into the lab and helped him fix his game.
Oh God, that's what I want the Devils to do. I want them to get a good
a
goalie coach. A good goalie coach can do so much.
Yeah, but
let's talk about Benoit Aller. I mean, his fingerprints are all over that Ranger team and their success. Because where would they be without elite goalie play?
He's like
they would
gotten the most out of
I don't know if they'd be a playoff team. Forget President's Trophy winners. I don't know if they'd be a playoff team without their elite goalies.
Oh yeah, no, they would not. Winning games would be a struggle.
Yeah, winning games would be a struggle. I mean, look at the Devils with how much goaltending can make a difference. Last year they got good goaltending.
I was the happiest person alive when Connor Hellebuyck signed his extension with Winnipeg. You have no idea.
Oh yeah, I
was the happiest
because you thought the Devils would trade for him, and it would be.
You might as well have handed the Devils the cup right then and there if they got
especially the sentiment at the time about the Devils. Everyone was stoked on him. Me too. I'm not going to sit here and act like I was skeptical about the Devils. No, I was going in. I'm like, yeah, dude. And the big question, goaltending.
I mean, my brother Jack had to survive Mike Dunham and double blockers Blackburn in with the early 2000s Rangers. That was not fun. Mike Dunham and Dan Blackburn.
Oh, and the Rangers were nowhere to be found in the early 2000s, if I'm not correct.
That was a dark period. Like 98 to 2004.
And meanwhile, 98 to 2004, like the Devils just ate the league. They ate the league.
In that parking lot. Yeah,
in that parking lot. Dude, we had plenty of parking lot parades back then, dude. It was fun. It was not. I would give anything. I would give anything to have another parking lot parade. Although I'm sure if the Devils win the cup, which I don't see happening anytime soon, like if the Devils end up winning another cup, I do think they will have a proper parade in like Jersey City or Hoboken. There's no way they can do it in Newark. But I think that they could do it. I think they could do it in Hoboken. Hoboken knows how to party. Like Hoboken it's a great town. And I think if the Devils, I mean, half the Devils players live there. Like they live in Hoboken, they live in Jersey City. So like Hudson County, that's where they all live. They all live in like I have family who lives or lived up there, and they run into athletes all the time.
I think it's a good place to stop it though for this week.
We
will know a lot. I think who knows? Maybe the Rangers probably move. I have to see the schedule again.
Like maybe they end up moving on to the second round entirely.
Yeah,
but if it's a close series, I'll let you talk. I'll talk you through it.
I mean, if they win, ultimately, still, I'm not gonna be. I mean, I might be a little upset, but they won. They won the series.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna overlook the Caps because it's.
Meanwhile, I am overlooking the Caps.
I mean, I'm picking the Rangers to win the cup.
Cannon fodder.
I'm picking the Rangers to win the cup because I want it to happen. I'm praying for it. You were picking the Rangers out of spite. You were picking the Rangers out of spite.
I am picking the Rangers
and jinxing.
I am picking the Rangers because I don't want it to happen.
And it's gonna be true. Like, watch. You're gonna be your biggest victory, celebrating that you jinxed the Rangers.
Yes, absolutely yes. That has been the Devils fan experience for most of my life, is watching our team blow in the regular season, and then
I mean, is it really?
And then it's just praying for the Rangers to lose in the playoffs.
I mean, is it
That's what it is. It's just the experience, the Devils fan experience in the 2010s and in the early 2020s, well, now mid 2020s, has been unwarranted offseason optimism. Although
we got a tour outside.
This year it was warranted. This year the optimism was kind of warranted because we were coming off a 52-win season. But the Devils fan experience has been unwarranted offseason optimism, followed by an underwhelming regular season that ends up fizzling out by February at the latest. And then praying for the Rangers to lose in the playoffs so we can just forget that this year ever happened.
I hope you don't forget this year happened. I just hope you don't.
Yep, I'm afraid. Like I genuinely fear that Ranger team. Like they're so good.
I mean,
that team's so good.
If they play up to their ability, which
the Rangers in the playoffs, they haven't really had a knack for doing that.
I haven't had a knack for doing that, but man, this is the one time to actually do it.
2022, I thought they were dancing through the raindrops.
They were
this year. They
were just happy to be there. Honestly, I think.
Yeah, that 2022, that team really was just Shesterkin in a power play and nothing else. Sure, you guys are an underwhelming 5-on-5 team, but at least you make your chances.
You make your chances. We opportunistic.
You maximize, and that's another thing that wins in the playoffs. You're opportunistic.
If you gotta make it to most of your opportunity. That's a whole other thing. Like if you get your opportunities, you got to capitalize.
Playoffs, those don't come a lot.
You gotta maximize every opportunity you get as best as you can, at least, and like try to win the momentum game.
Absolutely. Anyways, I think that'll about do it for us here. I'm out of steam. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. For those who did, again,
watching on replay, VOD watchers.
Yeah, again, next Thursday, us, Robbie Basil in this studio, NFL draft for the first round. We're going to be covering all that jazz. We're going to be covering the Giants pick, the Jet pick, any trades that end up happening because somebody ends up doing something stupid. And
I hope it's the Vikings.
And we'll be there for all of it. So tune in next Thursday night for the first round. And once again, this has been Ball Knowers. From Luke Dolan, I am Cameron Woolley, wishing you so long and good night.
Have a good day, everyone. Have a good week. Best time of the year coming right up.